Chapter 04. Here's what happened after lining up in the Dworgen's entrance. 1. Some old dudes accosted me. 2. I got pissed off just a little. 3. I kinda beat them, just a little. Not my fault, right? That's what I thought while glancing at the soldier who arrested me. He has a majestic long bushy beard befitting of a dwarf and a wide friendly smile. If I could say something hindering his attractiveness, it was the unfortunate veins popping from his head. Now let's see what you got to say for yourself. My superior was scolding me because of you. I got solicited, what could I do? I reasoned. The blame everyone else technique. The soldier I was referring to was Kaijin's younger brother Kato. He was somewhat powerful in the Dworgen after all. With his abilities alone he rose to the rankings of guards in the most prominent military country Dworgen. According to Seal, Kato immediately went on the scene after detecting the commotion. I tried explaining everything to him, but he just couldn't believe my story. It became a debate we talked about for a while. He just couldn't believe a slime, a species that's not even considered a monster, caused such commotion. According to him, his superiors were in entropy of such thought. After the intense argument, he finalizes my verdict. The report he will file is somewhat similar to a novel, a powerful wizard girl cursed by an evil demon lord to be slime. It is said that I refused to be a demon lord subordinate, then the demon lord transformed me into a slime. It was something you usually see in novels. Well, he is doing his best to plead us innocent, so I did not pursue it any further. Slam. S sir. An Armosaurus appeared on the mines. What did you defeat it? We are already fine. A suppression force was already coming on the field, but some of us are deeply injured. As I saw them in a pinch, I decided to help. Here, I exclaimed, producing a glass vial filled with a healing potion. What is this? Kaido asked, catching the vial. It's a potion of healing. Without even examining the item, Kaido attempted to move forward, but his underlings obstructed him. Captain, are you sure you can trust a monster? However, they were missing the point. I spoke again, urgency in my voice. That doesn't matter right now. Just rub it on the wounds or drink it, either method will work. But Captain, that is a monster. One of Kaido's underlings insisted, still hesitant. Enough, just shut up and take me to the injured. Kaido knew their situation was dire, and time was of the essence. Before going, Kato looked back to me and said, "And you, slime, stay here, I owe you one." I am grateful. Kato dashes away with his back against me, expressing his gratitude before leaving. I am completely enthralled with his integrity. But now, the guard who was interrogating me had left. What should I do now? I returned to my prison cell and found Gobta sleeping. I needed to kill some time, so this should suffice. I don't need to go into details about what I did. Let's just say that because of my actions, we won't be seeing Gobta for the entirety of the Dworgen arc. To be fair, it's better here compared to the current Tempest, and the jail system was gracious enough to give the detainees stable food. I might as well turn on sleep mode. After sleeping for the prison for one night, my new day has started with Kato introducing who I just saved in his last time. It's the Garm brothers. They are the Garm, Dord, and Murd. They visited me just to express their gratitude. Thank you, sir. Thanks a ton. Man, those potions are effective. I thought I wouldn't be able to work anymore. My whole arm was completely torn. Thank you. Quote. You still won't talk? Well, I am positive that he was thankful too. I guess that works fine. After the Garm brothers left, Kato chatted with me again, but this time I immediately got down to the business. I told him that I was trying to build a village, plus I need some engineers and craftsmen that can teach us the ropes of the profession. I know someone who you are just looking for. Yeah, I know him too, man. But I can't release you guys without my superior's orders. But 1 second later the report he was just waiting for arrived. According to the report, I am really not the cause of the commotion. After further investigation, it was proven that I indeed got entreated by rogues adventurers of Dworgen's Free Guild. When Kato read the letter, he immediately released me. I am embarrassed and shameful to keep you further on these cells. As thanks and compensation, I will escort you myself to an amazing craftsman I know," he proudly said. Me, and Gobuzo accompanied by Kato went on to meet a great swordsmith. During our walk, Kato and I have our little trade-off. "But Mr. Rimuru, how did you obtain those potent healing potions?" he asked. "It's a secret, but I can sell it some to you. It's expensive though," I answered. "Then how about 5 pieces per potion? I don't know if it's enough. I will buy 5 potions. Foo, it's not enough, but we can make this work." His face was questioned on my statement. I continued, Then how about I selling it to you for 5 gold each, but you must compromise to buy 10 potions. Wait, I am feeling gracious nowadays. How about 11 potions for 50 gold pieces? Kato think first, but in the end couldn't resist the temptation and he gave up against my exhortation. I mean, fine negotiation skills. I won. You may be a good person, but it doesn't matter. Business is business. Improving both my deception skills and earning enough money to screw myself freely on the paradise. Deception skills were not improved, not even the slightest. Seal Sensei made a sarcastic remark. Anyway, I can't help but to be optimistic about it. Here I go, elves. Let's get kaijin and enjoy ourselves until we pass out. Don't worry, Kato, your 3 months worth of wage is worth it. Try presenting some to King Gazel and you will get promoted in no time. I happily muttered to him after our negotiations. After walking for a while, we reached Kaijin's workshop. We knocked 3 times, but no one answered, so we decided to barge in. Sorry for the intrusion. As we entered, we caught a glimpse of Kaijin in his less than glamorous state. He was deeply focused on his work, hammering away at a piece of hot metal, transforming it into a fine sword. However, due to the recent initiatives of the Eastern Empire, Dworgen couldn't afford to remain idle. In times like these, Kaijin needed to mass-produce weapons to meet the nation's demands in case of any trouble. Why do I have to be so busy? Kaijin muttered as he continued his work. Of course, while professional craftsmen are skilled at mass production, it's impossible to give their all at every moment. Craftsmanship, by its nature, requires time and dedication. Even though proficiency varies with experience, true artisans are often deeply passionate about their art. Mass production, however, comes with its challenges. It increases the likelihood of degradation and mistakes, compromising quality. These craftsmen aren't just focused on meeting client expectations, they take great pride in their work, valuing the emotional connection and effort that goes into every piece they create. Hey Seal, Kaijin's health is failing. To be precise, the cause of his current condition is extreme exhaustion. I see. This was a bad scene to witness. As I processed Kaijin's state, the Garm brothers entered the workshop, immediately noticing me. Their eyes widened with surprise, yet there was a flicker of happiness too. Wah! Kaijin, sluggish and tired, finally noticed us. What do you want? He asked, his voice gruff with fatigue. But then his gaze shifted, catching the brothers' expressions. Oh, do you know these guys? Garm quickly responded, his voice firm. That's him, the slime who saved our lives. Dord followed, a bit more reserved. It was him who saved us. Quote. 14 years, and you're still not much for words, huh? Kaijin explained everything to us regarding the pending Empire invasion, and that is the reason for the hellish demand for magic swords. The factors hindering Kaijin in his craft, like the shortage of magisteel supply. And finally, mentioning the tyranny of Minister Vesta. That minister is a tyrant requesting something on this scale on short notice. I think I won't make it on time. Kaijin got carried by the heat of the moment and became angry just by mentioning that minister's name. Immediately after, he realized his mistake and returned to his composure. Oh, I mustn't talk like this in front of the clients, so what brings you here today? Kaijin, coming back from his deep complaints, asked us more calmly, so, what do you need? Brother, Mr. Rimuru is assembling a community, Kato spoke up in my stead. He asked if there are any craftsmen who could teach them engineering and various crafts on site. Kaijin pondered for a moment, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. I understand the request, but I can't just leave without finishing this project. There's a high chance I might fail if I rush it. Hearing that, I knew what I needed to do. Then, mister, do you mind? I asked with a grin. Mind what? Kaijin replied, confused. Foo. Is this the sword that Dworgen needs? I asked, pointing to the sword Kaijin had just finished. Yes, Kaijin answered hesitantly. Without hesitation, I gobbled the sword Kaijin had pointed out. His eyes widened in shock as he screamed in disbelief. Before Kaijin could fully comprehend what had happened, I immediately produced 20 identical magisteel swords, puking them out in rapid succession. His initial terror quickly turned to sheer amazement as he stared at the swords, utterly speechless. I won't force you to come, I said calmly, but please, consider it. Now, with this advantage in my hands, it was the perfect time to bargain. I had just given him a solution to his problem, and the astonishment in his eyes told me I had his attention. 20 magisteel swords, Kaijin gasped, still in disbelief. For a master craftsman like him, seeing high-quality products appear in such a short time was nothing short of a spectacle. However, there was one thing he missed. It wasn't just the quantity I was offering. I had been generous. Oi oi, take a closer look, I teased. I've been quite generous here. Kaijin stepped forward, closing the distance between himself and the nearest sword. He crouched, inspecting the blade closely, his eyes narrowing as he examined its tip. This glow, he muttered with a mix of awe and confusion. His eyes widened as realization dawned. This isn't just a sword made from any magisteel. This is made from the purest magi core, a magicluster. His voice rang out loudly in the room, filled with disbelief. What he had in his hands was the result of a new experiment Seal-sensei and I had been working on, fusing magisteel with diamonds. The result was etherium, a material on par with mithril and orichalcum, though it seemed Kaijin was too astonished to fully grasp its true potential just yet. I couldn't help but grin. Foo, not convinced of my proposal yet. I cannot help but become full of myself considering this amazing feat. It's surplus, but I doubt the Dworgen folks will complain, right? Foo. Kaijin looked at me with a mix of awe and curiosity, trying to understand how this spectacle had come to be. But, Sir Rimuru, how did you manage to acquire those precious materials? They're incredibly rare. Magisteel is already scarce given the shortage here in Dworgen, yet you produced 20 of the purest magisteel swords. I chuckled softly, knowing the truth. Honestly, I'm just rich, I replied nonchalantly. In my mind, Seal chimed in. You have the ability to create anything. This is nothing. Well, thank you for that insight, Seal-san. Joking aside, I answered Kaijin honestly and setting up a bait at the same time. You will find that out once you help us, so please think about it. But sir, is that all? These swords that you have presented us are valuable, you know. Are you saying you will give this to us free of charge? It's not entirely expensive, at least not for me. It was created using my magicals, so I didn't spend a single resource on producing those. It seemed like Kaijin and Kato weren't shameless enough to accept these valuable items without offering something in return. But I had a proposal. I signaled Kaijin to come closer, leaning in to whisper. If you really feel that bad, then treat me to a paradise. I murmured slyly into his ear. Kaijin burst out laughing, his hearty voice filling the workshop. Ha. Of course, that's nothing. Very well, we shall join you. As payment for your help, I will treat Sir Rimuru and make you the guest of honor at the party as well. When Kaijin said that with a grin, I reciprocated with a smile of my own. However, when we glanced at Kato, it seemed like he had other plans. Kaijin, momentarily frustrated by his brother's stern expression, couldn't help but sigh. But it couldn't be helped. Kato, ever the serious one, had duties to attend to. He was the type of guy who'd never make it to a mixer in his entire life. I felt bad for him, but there was no changing his mind. So, with that settled, me, Kaijin, and the Garm brothers were ready to have a great time. And so, the day after, me, Gobuzo, Kaijin, and the Garm brothers went late at the night. The name of the store was Butterflies of the Night. As we made our way inside, welcome Tilda, the elves Oni-sans greeted us. Fantastic, elves everywhere. We did not even hesitate and we busted our way in. We let our hearts choose our actions as the night begins. I just bounced around and the roundness of my slime form was immediately buried inside the crevices of their their big and majestic mountains. Ha. I did not expect Sir Rimuru to produce those weapons in seconds. I considered your offer, but I don't understand why you need us when you can create something like that in a flash, Kaijin said, sitting in front of me, chugging down a barrel of booze. Well, I'm a craftsman myself. I know those mass-produced ones aren't as good as a real craftsman's work, I replied, shrugging casually. I see now. It seems Sir Rimuru has the passion of a true craftsman as well, he continued, taking another hearty swig. I might be a little vexed about what you did, but now that I know Sir Rimuru has an interest in crafts, it only motivates me. Someday, I'll produce swords that even Sir Rimuru couldn't mass-produce. Kaijin proposed a friendly challenge. It's on. I won't lose, I declared, a competitive fire igniting within me. Me too, Kaijin replied, confidence radiating from him as he embraced the pride of his craft. Our friendly competition was abruptly interrupted when an elf entered, eager to read my fated one. Love narratives, but wait, I already knew Shizu-san was my fated one, and at my age, I felt I was too old for such tales, honestly. After a quick incantation, the fortune teller's enchantment made a spherical ball glow with brilliance. Images of Shizu-san and the other children filled the sphere. I had already figured it out, but Kaijin was the one taken by surprise. Oh, don't tell me, Conqueror of Flames. He stuttered. The elf woman beside him chimed in, the champion of the Free Association. Yeah, she's one hell of a beauty, but that lady has been active for several decades now. Her name is Shiz, oh, that's right, Shizu Izawa. A rise of tension crept down my back as I sensed the blonde elf holding me glaring with considerable veins popping on her forehead. Does Mr. care for this faded one? She asked, her tone sharp. That's mean. No cheating. Another elf Oni-san protested, her concern evident as she poked me playfully. The mini festivities continued, laughter and banter filling the air as we emptied our barrels until we were no longer sober. We continued to drink and celebrate until the very last second of the night, or when Minister Vesta arrived. So you let monsters come in this filthy facility? The minister entered the restaurant and made a loud commotion. I beg your pardon, but this slime is a little gentleman, Mama-san, the manager of the place, tried explaining and calming Minister Vesta to alleviate the commotion. For Mama-san, Vesta is a higher, maybe even one of the highest of the classes of Dworgen, not just a minister. So she carefully administered all of her words with accountability. But all Vesta is spewing was plain monster kind discrimination. If I were to file this complaint, I doubt even a powerless slime in Dworgen I am will win in a court. But no one dared to oppose it because Vesta has a lot of strings. Even in this world, that obscured system where the rich can control the justice system is still in place. Vesta reacts violently to Mama-san's gentle explanation. Are you saying this slime is not a monster just because of his character? Talk about foolishness, Vesta interjected, disregarding Mama-san's words. He stepped closer to me, and I felt a strange sense of camaraderie, like I was meeting a friend, even if he didn't quite feel like one yet. Here, drink this. It might help you relax, she said softly, her warmth contrasting with Vesta's earlier hostility. Without warning, he grabbed the drink from Mama-san and slowly spilled it onto my artistic slime body. My passive open hollow corner bracket multi-dimensional barrier close hollow corner bracket just blocked it though, but the gesture still shocked me. It served as a stark reminder of how monsters had been treated in the past. The elves Oni-san surrounded me with their Mount Fugis one by one. I've taken Vesta's action for granted and utilized it to the best I can. No, Slime-san, are you alright? But what might concern the most is Kaijin. Don't worry, it doesn't actually matter. I consoled the elves, assuring them that Vesta's act was nothing more than disrespectful, harmless, really. But my real concern was how Kaijin would react. Without hesitation, Kaijin swung a full-force punch, landing square on Vesta's face. Vesta, I hope you're ready to pay for treating my guest like that. Kaijin snarled, clenching both fists, his face seething with anger. The Garm brothers hurriedly stepped in, trying to calm Kaijin down. Easy, Kaijin, Dord urged. Don't do anything rash, added Garm, but Vesta, reeling from the blow, sneered defiantly, how dare you speak to me like that? Do you realize who I am? Vesta wasn't wrong, punching a high-ranking minister wasn't exactly the best move, Kaijin. But I wasn't about to object. In fact, this was playing out exactly as I had hoped. Sir Rimuru, Kaijin said, turning to me, still filled with fury, you're looking for skilled artisans, right? Would you settle for me? Settle, I exclaimed, smiling widely. I'd be thrilled to have you on board. Everything was going exactly as planned. With one final punch, Kaijin struck Vesta again, knocking him down. The few remaining patrons, especially the elven dancers, were shocked as they watched Vesta stumble out the door, battered and humiliated. Remember this, Vesta snarled as he limped away, his pride more wounded than his face. The night's festivities were in disarray, and I doubted Vesta would let this go so easily. Trouble was brewing, and we all knew it. I turned to Kaijin, my voice lowering. Kaijin, are you sure that was wise? That man is a high minister. Injuring someone of his rank could lead to execution. At the very least, you're looking at exile. Kaijin, however, remained unfazed. If I didn't stand up to him, I'd bring shame to the king. Besides, didn't you already offer me a second chance? He spoke so casually, as if the whole incident was nothing more than a passing joke. We exchanged knowing grins, ignoring the gravity of what had just happened. We spent the rest of the night in the elves' den, enjoying ourselves until the first light of dawn, but the consequences of Kaijin's actions were inevitable. The next morning, a heavy knock sounded at the door. Kato, Kaijin's brother, stood there, his expression one of disbelief and frustration. Brother, Mr. Rimuru, What the hell have you two done? He demanded. As expected, striking a minister wasn't something one could simply walk away from, and just like that, shortly after my restart, I found myself back in prison. Now, here we were, standing in the royal court, awaiting judgment. The offense, assaulting a minister, was severe enough that King Gazel Dwargo himself would be delivering the verdict. King Gazel soon entered, taking his place atop the enormous throne, his stern gaze fixed on us as we stood bound in powerful restraints. These cuffs were no ordinary shackles. They were so strong that even someone like Shizu-san, a hero recognized by society, might struggle to break free using pure strength. Additionally, they were enchanted with anti-magic properties, preventing any spells from being cast while we were held in them. You are now on trial, accused of treason and hostility toward the Dwargon Kingdom, a jurist announced gravely. Your fate will be decided by His Majesty, King Gazel Dwargo. The proceedings began, and Vesta was invited to give his account. In the presence of the king, state your version of events, the jurist commanded. Vesta's lawyer, clearly bought and paid for, stepped forward with a fabricated story. According to him, Vesta had merely gone to the shop for some innocent fun when, out of nowhere, Kaijin attacked him. It was a lie, of course. Anyone who had been there would know the truth. If only King Gazel would question Mama-san, the manager of the elf paradise, Vesta's deceit would fall apart. But it seemed there was a deeper plot at play. Unfortunately, we had no lawyer to defend us. Despite being in the right, Kaijin remained silent. Perhaps it was due to the pressure of the Albaline paradox, or the intense gazes of the powerful figures in the room, all eagerly awaiting our downfall. Kaijin, burdened by unseen forces, couldn't bring himself to speak in his own defense. This trial was clearly a ploy, a test to see if Vesta had truly compromised his position as minister. And yet, they were using us as pawns in their game. It was outrageous. Of course, rumors were already circulating that Minister Vesta was actively undermining Kaijin, even if it was only a hoax, and now they are facing each other in a contrived trial, and King Gazel wanted to know who was telling the truth and who wasn't. King Gazel saw right through this, didn't he? I mean, it's far too fabricated that, while those rumors are spreading, they're now facing each other in court. The only question is whether Kaijin or Vesta is lying to the king. But if we don't defend ourselves, King Gazel will have to take Vesta's side with no voice from us. The sound of crackling chains cut through the heated meeting as I transitioned into my gorgeous human form for the first time in the restart. This is not my true form, but I think it's more convenient talking with this form. When Dworgon's customized cuffs were ripped apart, everyone in the room pointed their teeth towards me. As they saw their cherished and steadfast cuffs come undone so effortlessly. How dare you talk like that in the presence of King? The warriors in the room charged towards me, causing trouble. They might be elite, rookies, top fighters, or bottom fighters. They all attacked me with their well-planned coordinated onslaught, but it wasn't enough. I casually grasped their attack with my perception, which can be amplified to millions and billions of numbers. I released a portion of my aura, and the Dworgon warriors stood anxiously as if their impulses urged them not to fight me. They were rendered immobile with their own body telling them not to mess with the individual standing in front of them. King Gazel sighed, visibly frustrated by his office's actions. He rises gloriously. What is your name? With his acute gaze drilling right through me, King Gazel inquired. I answered by glaring back at him. Rimuru, Rimuru Tempest. King Gazel was scared by the exhibition I put on, but as the strong king of Dworgon, his bravery is his people's hope. The unexpected scenario transpired, stunning even the guilty Vesta and everyone in the room. King Gazel knees to me apologetically. It was a humble edict, yet his prestige as a ruler was not lessened. I apologize for my minister's folly. Is there anything I can do to help you forget all of this nonsense? How about you start a nice connection with me? I saw his left eye wrinkled slightly upward on his face. Is that all he's thinking, judging from his expression? Of course, it is to be anticipated. I am only a tourist in their nation, but I have been involved in their internal problems. Perhaps I can make use of this chance. Then regarding about letting me borrow these 4 Vesta included, you see I am building a kingdom from the dirt. I need brilliant engineers and researchers along the process. At the same time, the ministers were perplexed and agitated. Dworgon is known for its technology, thus I'm guessing Kaijin and the others are treasures to them that they refuse to give up. Vesta, in particular, was a natural talent in science and engineering, but his path was twisted throughout his journey. My king, there is no need for you to bow your head in that lowly slime. Vesta begged to his dignified king not to lower his edict with somebody like us. But, as I previously stated, even if King Gazel were to crawl or grovel, my respect for King Gazel would not be dimmed in the slightest. Be silent. If the entire Dworgen is decimated as a result of this beast, I will never forgive you. King Gazel warned for the final time. The ministers too had a questioned look on their king's statement. It is only King Gazel and I only understand between ourselves. I just wanted to be useful to you. He mumbled meekly, not aware how many tears had fallen from each of his eyes. Then, as a mark of our diplomatic ties and compensation for Vesta's ploy, I will let Kaijin, Vesta, and the others assist you in building your kingdom. I was planning on exiling them anyway, but be sure to use their skills to the best of your ability. And for you, Vesta, be grateful to this slime who granted you a second opportunity. Make the most of his country. And be a valuable asset by offering the most of your abilities. King Gazel slammed that in Vesta's face as forcefully as he could. Vesta, on the other hand, sees it as a second chance to prove his worth to the king. Vesta's eyes are filled with a slender thread of light, restoring all of his passion and integrity that had faded long ago. Yes, I will never disgrace you twice. He exclaimed that full of his heart. Do me proud, it's questionable if you'll succeed in constructing a kingdom or not, but I will back you as a person, then farewell Rimuru. King Gazel made his gallant leave, but later that day, Kato presented him to the potion that he had purchased from me, but that's a story for another day. Now that King Gazelle has found my one-of-a-kind 99% Hippocute potion, he plans to visit the hamlet and mass-produce it. The light that omits all of Jura Forest is fading as evening approaches, but for the time being, let's focus on returning. What was that SSUU? Gobta asked. What do you mean? We were at the Dworgen's entryway. Kato didn't even accompany us since he is too preoccupied with his promotion as a result of the Hippocute potions. That transformation SSUU. Ah, that was my human form. It's just a skill open hollow corner bracket mimicry close hollow corner bracket no biggies. I spoke it as if it were nothing. To be fair, I doubt Dworgen would be afraid if I stayed a slime. So I decided it would be better to adopt that approach to bargain so they would believe they couldn't abuse me since I was powerless as a slime. That sound absurd SSUU. Gobta exclaimed in amazement. Kaijin from my behind seconded Gobta's pointless amazement. Yeah, we did not know Master Rimuru can transform into a handsome beauty. Wait, Kaijin muttered but immediately puzzled on my gender. Hey, but it's true that these guys have no idea what gender I am. I'm neither male nor female, since slimes don't have gender. We walk towards the deep forest where Rigyur and the other expedition team have set up camp. It has been more than 5 days since we arrived at the Dworgen. The first day I spent in prison, the second day screwing myself with the elves, the third, fourth, and fifth days on the trial, and now the 6th day our departure. Great Rimuru and the others were back. Rigyur greeted us when he saw our figures. It's a hectic trip but I am presenting what we obtained Ihim. Dworgen's most prominent smith, Kaijin. Garm Brothers' finest clothing seamstress, Garm. Garm Brothers' greatest craftsman, Dord. Garm Brothers' engineer construction prodigy, Murd. And, Sir Rimuru. Vesta cut in with a rushed tone. He panders in front of me. Sir Kaijin, Sir Rimuru, I sincerely apologize for all that happened. Please let me work under you. I will do my best to serve you. I no longer feel any distrust in him. All I sense is one word, rebuilding phase in his career. Master Rimuru, please let Vesta be a service to you. I will bear responsibility with him. Well, I intended on hiring you anyway. You're hired. Yes, thank you very much. I will devote myself to producing results. Then let's go home. Yes, Vesta is the Minister of Dworgen and the Chief Researcher. One of the greatest dwarves we have today employed. A king's resolve. With great power comes great responsibility. I am grateful that Slime pardoned my misguided minister's actions. It doesn't matter how handy someone is, absolute strength is a frightening thing. If someone possesses something like that, he will be able to take all of the lives in just a snap of their thumbs, which is more terrifying than any nuclear grand magic court magicians do because that technique has numerous procedures to fire it. That slime is an awakened demon lord, I am certain of. Unlike wayward demon lords, this world has a top demon lord organization named the Great 10 Demon Lords. Lord of the Darkness, Tyrant of Destruction, Demon Lord of the Labyrinth, King of the Giants, Sleeping Ruler, Bloody Lord, Curse Lord, Beast Master, Sky Queen, Marionette Master. These are the most dreaded demon lords, at least according to society. That slime called Rimuru is slightly awoken, and if he declares himself a demon lord, what will happen? Demon lords would not sit idly by while a small creature uses their name for nonsense. Dworgen could be hostile to minor demon lords such as the Beast Master and the Marionette Master, but that slime was built differently. This is only my opinion, and it may just be a supposition based on my intuition signaling me that slime was imminent. I'll keep a close eye on him for now since he may be a deadly opponent as well as an useful ally. To be continued.